Hi, everyone in the room. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome you into our 2025 SITL workshop series, section 4. This series title of the section is Embedding the Spectrum into Teaching and Learning. We have 3 presentations in the section. Each presentation have 20 minutes for presentation and 5 minutes for questioning open to our participants. Okay. Our first presentation is Miguel Ruano and Celia Longobardo, right? The title is Evaluating the Impact of Spectrum Teaching of Style on Motivation in Sports Series University Students. Okay, are you ready to present it? If you're ready and you can start.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see the screen? Everything is okay?
It's clear.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We have modified a little bit the title. So, okay, let's begin with it. Good morning, everyone. We are so happy to present our project, research project called Influence of Teaching Styles on Motivation and Engagement in Perception Learning Among Sports Science Students. It is made by Professor Miguel Ángel Gómez Romano and myself, Celia Rodríguez Longobardo. Okay. We are both from Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, and this research project it's part of the workshop series of the Spectrum Institute for Teaching and Learning. So we would like to say thank you to all the institute for making possible this project. So to begin with, let's see a little bit about the contents we're going to present. So let's start with the introduction. Just to introduce the spectrum of teaching styles in case any of you are not familiar with it. So according to the spectrum theory, teaching is seen as a chain of decision making, and the spectrum categorizes 11 styles based on who makes the decisions and to what extent, the teacher or the learner. So the first 5 styles from A to E are the command, practice, reciprocal, self-check, and inclusion. And they form a cluster of teaching options that foster reproduction, so memory thinking. And the remaining styles form a cluster of teaching options that invite production, discovery of new knowledge.
Miguel and Celia, you're breaking up a little bit. I think your connection is going a little funny.
Yeah. Celia, can you?
Oh, I think they got disconnected. We're sorry for the technical difficulties. They've had power issues in Spain, Portugal, and France today because of a fire. So power keeps going in and out. They might not be able to rejoin us.
Okay, can we change the order?
Yes, we can. I know it's last minute and kind of in the middle of a presentation, but Kanae, would you mind?
Yeah, I can go. Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. We are ready. So let's see. We are ready actually.
I think
I am just kidding. Okay, let's see. Okay, what do I see? What do you see here? Let me see.
I-
Okay, I'm gonna switch.
okay, you don't change your title, right?
Okay, so do you all see my screen okay?
Yes,
Do you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
my screen or presentation?
yes.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Kanai Haneshi, and I am the associate professor at the Western Colorado University in the United States. So today, on behalf of Dr. Matthew Carter Smith from the University of Alabama and Dr. Bruce Nakara from AIM Academy, we are presenting our research that was supported by fund from Spectrum Institute for Teaching and Learning. And we are very grateful for this opportunity. So our title is 11 Spectrum Teaching Styles to Promote Inclusion and Social Justice in Physical Education. So during the past 35 years, a considerable number of scholars have suggested that teachers should train to use and adapt the critical pedagogies. The goal of this movement has been to educate teachers so they will strive to provide inclusive classroom or gymnasium, give all students voice, and address disparities, injustice, and promote democracy, and counter the social oppressions that which many students in nowadays face in our society. And quickly, why physical education? We have already presented this part in the past, so I go very quickly. But because of physical education is social, dynamic, and public, many social issues we see in our society appears during physical education. For example, girls are often considered treated as marginalized in physical education. And the less skilled, less experienced students are often excluded. And the student with power or student with popularity make most decisions. And the Black and brown students are often considered or treated to be athletic and good at sports. And Asian students are often considered or treated non-athletic or non-interested in sports. Or students with disabilities are often excluded from activities. So this given this rich opportunity in physical education, the physical education teachers can create where justice, equity, diversity, inclusion, we call JEDI, are embedded in student learning experience. In other words, physical education teachers are in position to play a unique role in social justice movement as they address human dynamics and the complexity in a society. To this end, number of sports pedagogy scholars have stressed the importance of physical education teachers deliberately embedding the concept of concern with social justice, equity, diversity, inclusion in their lessons. Despite these efforts, data still indicate the physical education curricula continue to be Eurocentric, elitist, individualist, masculine, and competitive focus, reproducing a culture of genders, racist, sexist, ableist practices operated by privileged, white, able-bodied Christian males. So consequently, the production of physical education teachers who can and will teach JE concept, along with the establishment of practical pedagogical strategies for implementing these concepts, continue to be important concept in many cultures and countries. In the United States, the Shape America new national physical education standards also emphasize the importance of developing social and personal skills related to JEDI concept as standard 3 and the standard 4. And quote, quote, Shape America's national physical education standards are designed to be accessible to all students, regardless of their ability, age, class, gender, and race. In our previous work, we have argued that spectrum teaching styles is one of the useful pedagogical tools through which physical education teachers could teach JEDI concept in their lessons. So by shifting decision-making to students across various spectrum teaching styles, opportunities for critical analysis, reflections or exploration of power dynamics within instructional episode are provided. So this intentional approach can facilitate the incorporation of JEDI concept into physical education lessons, empowering students to make these decisions during the instructional episode, nurture the diverse human attribute across educational domains as identified by Muston and Ashford through their developmental channels. When teachers intentionally implement diversified spectrum teaching styles, spectrum can help to develop social, personal skills related to JEDI concept. I'm going to go through very quickly some of the examples. With the spectrum self-check style D, in order to recognize and accept others who are different from you, the process needs to start with addressing embedded identity that leads to self-awareness, self-identity, self-acceptance. Spectrum teaching style D can promote this self-cultivation process. Through the spectrum teaching style C, students can develop social skills such as recognizing individual differences, learning to accept differences, and critically analyzing your peers, and working with peers who are different from you, and encouraging to critically reflect the world where peer lives. For the inclusion style E, a teacher can not only promote inclusivity, but also emphasize equity in their episode. With the guided discovery style F, by asking questions, style F can create opportunities for personal reflection and critical dialogue among students. Through the style H, students are encouraged to recognize their own perception might be different from from others, even on the same information. Because this might be because of their own unique experiences, or their own unconscious bias, or stereotype of certain groups. So teachers can further guide critical dialogue among students and address why certain students' perspective is different, and what are barriers and inequity exist in a society that influence those decisions. So following the meticulous process of shaping the instructional approach and incorporate the feedback and the support from scholars, the next phase of our research was to dive into the practical application of utilizing spectrum teaching styles to cultivate JEDI among school-aged children within the authentic educational settings, as well as teacher training for pedagogical approach. So therefore, the purpose of this study was to examine the impact of spectrum teaching style lessons that focus on JEDI concept on social and the sports behavior among school-aged students after 8 lessons of physical education instruction. And this study also aimed to examine whether it is possible to train pre-service teachers to use spectrum teaching styles to engage in such critical pedagogy effectively. And here are our participants. For the homeschool physical education students, we had 30 school-age students from homeschool physical education. They are mainly white from rural area. Their age was from preschool age to 4th graders. For the pre-service teachers, we had 15 pre-service teachers from PEAT program. They were in their 2nd and 3rd year of the program, and most of them had no or little knowledge and experience with spectrum teaching styles. So here are the bigger picture of research designs. So with pre-service teachers, which is in the green, we had 4 weeks of spectrum and JEDI training with pre-service teachers. And before they start teaching homeschool physical education, we interviewed pre-service teachers. And then after they taught 50 minutes of homeschool physical education, we interview them again about their experience. With the homeschool physical education students, school-aged student, before they start homeschool physical education sessions, we took a survey of sports behavior inventory, which is SBI, and the strengths and difficulty questionnaire, SDQ. And then after 8 50-minute sessions of physical education, we took the same survey again, and as well as we interviewed homeschool students after the homeschool physical education sessions. And briefly, the spectrum and JEDI concept training with the pre-service teachers. Again, that was 4 weeks, 3 times a week sessions, 15 minutes each sessions, and mainly focused on spectrum teaching style C, E, D, F, H to JEDI concept. And then here are the list of the key JEDI concepts addressed in the lessons. And with the homeschool physical education, that was 8 50-minute lessons, and then focusing on mainly fundamental motor skills, sports skills, aligned with the Colorado and more so new national physical education standard. And all lessons were supervised P faculty who are expert in spectrum teaching styles as well as a JEDI concept. And the pre-service teachers were responsible for all lesson planning, and all lessons were supervised by P faculty members. And all lessons are recorded for the verification of spectrum teaching styles. So here is what we found. With the result, with homeschool physical education students, with the 2 questionnaires, statistically, there was no significant differences found in sports behavior inventory, as well as strengths and difficulty questionnaire. So with SBI, the high score represent perceptions that aggressive behavior was more legitimate, and the low score represent perceptions that aggressive behavior was less legitimate. So although there was no significant differences between pre and post on the SBI, the data indicated that student aggressive behavior was decreased after the 8 weeks of PE sessions, focusing on JEDI concept using spectrum teaching styles. For the total difficulty score, again, there was no significant differences on pre and post on children's social functioning, measuring 5 areas, which was emotional symptoms, conduct problems, and hyperactivities in inattention, peer relations and relationship problems, and then pro-social behavior. So again, there's external scores ranged from 0 to 20 is the sum of conduct and hyperactivity scores, and then there was no significant differences on pre and post. And the internalizing scores range from 0 to 20. It is the sum of emotional and peer problem scales. It shows a slight increase, but not significant, statistically significant differences on pre and post test. With the homeschool physical education student, we interviewed after 8 weeks, 8 sessions of physical education. We interviewed them. And here are some of the things we found. So student students' perceptions on JEDI concepts through spectrum lessons. So the student felt that listening to the teacher and following the rules would lead to a fair and equal environment. And these are some of the example quotes that we received. And then also students said that student learned how to include everyone during the game and the physical activities. So some of the students said, to work together, we need to help each other and listen carefully. And some other students say, I learned how to be a good listener. And the other students say, if you see someone who looks lonely or excluded, go talk to them. So here are some of the quotes that we got from the school-aged students after homeschool physical education. And now I'm going to share the result from the pre-service teachers. So after they had a training on Spectrum JEDI, this was the before they taught homeschool PE. So the topic one was the perception on the Spectrum JEDI training program. The pre-service teachers learned the followings through the training. They said they learned how to implement JEDI concept in physical education using Spectrum teaching styles. Great, that's what we taught. And also they said they learned the importance of dealing with JEDI concept in physical education. And then they say they learned the teaching techniques for managing conflict. And then, before they taught, we also asked about JEDI concept and what they think about it. And then they say pre-service teachers felt that they understood the JEDI concept, and the pre-service teachers expressed that they learned how to teach, how to include everyone. And some pre-service teachers felt that they needed a little bit more information and the idea on implementing JEDI. So then next result is after they taught homeschool PE, 8 sessions of homeschool physical education. So topic one was, first topic was pre-service teachers' reflection on their teaching, how their teaching went. And some pre-service teachers had difficulties, including all students, because of the range of skill levels and age of the student, as well as gender differences. And then some pre-service teachers felt that they were able to improve students' fair play and the sportsmanship skills. And here's some quotes. And the pre-service teachers thought that they were able to use the variety of group discussions and reflections through the Spectrum teaching style FGH among students to teach JEDI concept. And the pre-service teacher thought that they were able to use the variety of group discussions among this is the same thing, I'm sorry, JEDI concept. And some pre-service teachers felt that they should have modified the game better or more effectively to include include all students. And then we also asked about what are some of the challenges that to implement JEDI concept using Spectrum teaching styles. And then they say pre-service teachers felt that teaching JEDI concept to younger kids were challenging because of their age. Because we had some preschool age through the fourth grader. So they felt that some of the students are a little too young to understand the concept. And then also some pre-service teacher felt that it was challenging to include everyone because of the wide range of differences among students, such as age or gender differences, or some felt that the class size was a little too big. And the pre-service teacher also struggled with coming up with ideas of how to modify the activities. Then another topic we asked was how pre-service student perception. So homeschool PE student perception. And the pre-service teachers thought that their student learned the following things. They thought pre-service teachers thought the students learned to be more supportive of each other. And the pre-service teachers thought the student learned to walk together. And then pre-service teacher thought the student learned to respect each other. And we also asked what are some of the teaching methodology or strategies that they used to implement JEDI concept during the homeschool physical education. And here are some of the teaching method they used. They said individual communications with children, like individual communication, direct communication. And then they also said that they used a lot of group reflection and discussion through Spectrum teaching style EFGH. And then they also said they provide many choices through Spectrum teaching style E. And then they also integrated interactions more like using pairing up, which is a spectrum teaching style C. And then the last question we asked them was give us some feedback on JEDI or spectrum teaching style training. And then they said the practical experience was very helpful. And then pre-service teachers said that they were able to learn how to implement JEDI concept in physical education, while some students thought that they needed more information, more resources to implement JEDI in physical education. So some feel like they got it, but some felt like they needed more information and resources. And then some pre-service teachers thought that they needed more strategies for diverse students when they're teaching diverse students, including wide range of age, or gender differences, or class size. So more trainings and resources, particularly focusing on JDI, was needed. So here are some conclusion and findings that we found. With the school-age student, after 50 minutes physical education lessons focusing on JEDI concept using spectrum teaching styles, they were able to understand the importance of listening to the teacher and following the rules related to fairness and equality and equity. And they were also able to learn how to include everyone during the games and the physical activities, and then potentially demonstrate a less aggressive behavior during physical activity, and then potentially improve less difficulties on emotional and peer problems on the social context. With the pre-service teachers, after receiving 4 weeks, 3 times a week of spectrum and JEDI training, and teaching 50 minutes physical education lessons, they understood the importance of implementing JEDI concept in physical education and how they can use spectrum teaching styles to teach JEDI concept, while they were able to use various spectrum teaching styles such as C, E, F, and H to teach JEDI concept, such as fairness, sportsmanship, sportswomanship, respect, support for others. They still experience some difficulties on how to include various ages, deal with gender differences, or large class size. And the main teaching styles that pre-service teacher used to teach JEDI concept through spectrum teaching styles were group reflection and discussion, providing many choices, and encouraging interaction such as pairing up students or peer teaching. For further training on teaching JEDI concept using the spectrum teaching styles, we should include more practical resources and information on how to modify games and activities, especially when teaching diverse age groups and then different genders and then abilities, as well as a large class size. So that is conclude my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for your amazing presentation. Have any questions or comments? Or you can write in it on the chart. Yeah. Is there any question? Nicole?
Robin, can I make a question?
Okay.
Just a quick question about the JEDI concept and the measurement tools. Can I thank you for your presentation. Just to clarify this, or just to have your opinion here, how much do you think the JEDI concept can be matched with the measurement tools, I mean, the questionnaires that you selected? Do you think they capture all JEDI dimensions?
So the quantitative research, we used the 2 questionnaires. One was the sports behavior, let me see, sports behavior inventory, and another one is the strength difficulties questionnaire. So that is definitely related to social and personal skills. But I think it's the question we asked to the student in the qualitative data was more so addressed how to, how they learn the JEDI concept. I am not sure if I shared, but because of this homeschool physical education students are younger, we actually focused on certain topic on JEDI concept, not like entire JEDI concept is a lot of things included, right? So we actually focused on like 5 specific JEDI concept, which included, if I can find a list, but which I can't, but it's say like respect for each other, listen to the other people, learning, accepting the different ideas. So we actually identified 5 specific JEDI concepts that we are targeted to teach during the homeschool physical education.
If I can chime in there a little bit, you're dead right though that the 2 questionnaires indirectly measure something related to JEDI, whereas as Kanai is saying, the qualitative data is much stronger because it's a direct, I don't want to use the term measurement. So as you can see that there's some hint from the questionnaires that it helped, but not much, whereas the qualitative data is much stronger. So, maybe in the future we need to come up with or develop, if people want to do mixed methods, come up with their own questionnaires that measure things directly. That may help. The other thing I wanted to say is to thank the Institute for sponsoring this kind of research. Obviously, we're not doing this in a vacuum in our country at the moment. And I was just reading yesterday how a professor at the University of Michigan had lost all her funding to do similar kinds of studies from the NIH. They just cut her off, and she'd been told by the government that this kind of research wasn't helpful at all. And so, Kanaya, especially as our leader, has been particularly brave doing this kind of thing. And it's hard to explain to people that live outside how things have changed so much since January. So that's a sort of elephant in the room. Doing this kind of thing is difficult. Doing critical pedagogy is difficult at the best of times. At the moment here, it's very difficult.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. Yeah. Any question? Any more question? I think we have a time for one question.
Yes.
Hi, me, please.
Yes. Hi, Kanai. Thank you for your presentation, and it's very insightful research for me. And here, I just got one question, very quick question. You actually in this study, you asked 2 questions, and I just want to know if we want to go on to investigate the JD issues in PE, then what would be your suggestion that we can follow up to ask other questions in the future studies? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I try to understand. Follow-up questions on JEDI?
Yes. So in this study, you try to understand. It seems like this is a follow-up investigation. That in past study, you investigate the perceptions of pre-service teachers in your program, and then you try to make a field study to examine whether they can implement the teaching styles very well, and whether they can influence their students. And yes, and you got some results from your study, and what would be the follow-up questions that you might ask in your future studies?
Yeah. So future study, research study. I would like Matt said, it currently might be a little bit challenging, but in the future, I think it's very beneficial to actually train in-service teachers and implement with this idea in in-service teachers and what happens. So we were able to do with the pre-service teachers, and then which is great. But I would like to see if these ideas and concept and how it's influenced to the student with the in-service teachers. But at the moment in the United States, I don't know what's gonna happen. But yes.
Yes. I think all of the world is also as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you the presentation. For,
Thank you.
Yeah. I think maybe some question in our at this section, because the Europa now is power all gone out, and I didn't see the Maria and the Jose into the room. Is Maria and Jose into the room? But I see Miguel in our room.
There is a huge problem here with electricity in the whole country in Spain. Now electricity shut down till 12 p.m. and no new connections. So we are dealing with this issue. A really huge problem here in Portugal. No electricity. It's a cyber attack. Yeah, it's strange, but the whole country is under these circumstances dealing with this issue. So we feel sorry for that, because probably Maria and Jose, they are from Madrid. And if they are in the same situation than us, it's complicated, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they are not in the room. I don't know, probably it's the same issue that yeah.
Okay, maybe we can waiting for you in next section. Can you?
Us?
Yeah, we can. Currently, the connection is working with the cell phone, so we are doing that. So yeah, if we can, yeah, we go on. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. I'm so sorry about the.
Oh, no worries. No, it's a problem in the country, so it's not. It's our problem now, so we feel sorry for that.
Okay.
We are really sorry.
Okay, thank you. I have to finish this section, so I announcement that the next section, our next section, the section 5 is will held 12th May, and this is the last section, and I hope you will continue to support and participate our next section, and thank you all.
Okay. Robin, you may announce when is our next session.
Yeah. I have talked about 12 May, 2025, 12 May, right? In the same time, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
May 12th.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all you participate our this section. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all. See you in a couple of days. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you later.
See you later. Bye.
See you.